Evangeline had already been kidnapped by Lord Jasper, only for his car to be ambushed by Bulgarian bandits en route to Istanbul, a highly promising situation. The Bulgarian bandits were everything Laura could have hoped for, and kept her occupied all the way to King's Lynn. As she walked from the station, she was lost in a daydream, one in which she was Evangeline, but instead of being rescued in the nick of time by the gallant Mark Frobisher, she was made the plaything of the bandit chief. Better still, the chief could have his wicked way with her, only for Frobisher to arrive a moment too late. The two men would fight it out as she lay naked and trembling in the furs beneath them, but when the Englishman finally triumphed, he would be unable to resist, and instead of carrying her to safety, would take his turn on top of her. Even better than that, Frobisher and the chief could turn out to be old friends from some earlier adventure, get thoroughly drunk on arak, and share her. She would kneel among the furs, naked, her bottom lifted to the chief's thrusts as she sucked on her supposed rescuer's erection, thoroughly used as they chatted casually of other girls they'd given the same undignified treatment. Laura was smiling as she walked, oblivious to everything but the vivid fantasy in her head, so that it was only when she reached her flat did she realise that she'd left her smart leather bookmark on the train. It was only a company one, given out to all junior employees as a blanket Christmas present the year before, and she quickly put her irritation aside, along with her fantasy as she settled down to the mundane tasks of the evening. Smudge needed to be walked, and she had to eat something, if only beans on toast, while she'd also have to iron a fresh blouse for the morning. The last detail turned her mind back to work, something she did her best to avoid when not actually in the office. Given what EAS paid her, it was hardly reasonable for them to expect her to devote her free time as well as the regular 9 to 5, yet that seemed to be what was expected of her, especially by Mr. Henderson. "Look smart" was one of the many watchwords, repeated at every opportunity, and underlined with numerous remarks on her appearance and a clothing allowance on top of her PA's salary. The clothing allowance at least was welcome, although she would have preferred to spend it on something other than designer suits and expensive blouses, at least occasionally. Laura bit her lip as she considered her boss. His comments had never crossed the line into anything that could be considered harassment, and yet the implication that her looks were important to her job was clear. The little approving nods when she made a special effort with herself, the way he introduced her to clients as if showing off a trophy, even the way he'd positioned their desk so that she had to walk the full width of the office for every tiny thing, all of it suggested that a major part of her work was to look sexy. The worst part of it was that in different circumstances she wouldn't have minded. He was tall, powerfully built and quite commanding, all features she liked in a man, so much so that when she had first joined EAS, she had allowed herself to fantasize about being taken roughly over his desk. That was before she'd discovered he was married, while on closer acquaintance she had come to realize that there was something faintly sleazy about him, although she could never quite come to grips with what it was. As she finished the blouse, she remembered her resolve not to allow work to intrude on her private time. They were visiting clients in the morning, a Peterborough firm who wanted to upgrade their ancient oil-insulated switchgear to SF6 gas. Mr. Henderson had stressed the importance of proper preparation, but then he always did, and the situation with Evangeline Tarrington was far more interesting than any amount of switchgear. Now a little tired but feeling pleasantly lazy, Laura turned on her bath, pouring a liberal portion of oil into the stream from the hot tap, so that she could already smell the hot jasmine scent as she went to her bedroom to undress. The little ritual of dealing with her clothes was soon complete, and she turned back to her book, eager to discover how Mark managed to rescue Evangeline from the clutches of the bandits, as he inevitably would. He did, distracting the guards by exploding an old Mills bomb he happened to have with him on the far side of their camp, rushing in to slit the chief's tent at the back, extracting Evangeline and make good his escape before anybody even noticed. As he fled, he carried her over his shoulder, a thoroughly undignified position that brought a smile to Laura's face as she imagined herself as the heroine. It was much too early in the book for the couple to do more than share an uncertain kiss.